everyone, and welcome to Entrepreneur Talk. My name is Brett Ducker from Alibaba.com, and in this series, I have the privilege to talk to sellers from the US and all around the world to learn about their business, their entrepreneurial journey, and to get some tips and tricks for selling on Alibaba.com. So today, we are traveling digitally to the great state of Illinois. We have Illinois crossed out on our map of sellers here. And in our product showcase today, we have some perfumes and colognes. And we have these in the showcase because it is my privilege today to be talking to Abdul Ahmed, who is the CEO of Intense OUD. They are a B2B and B2C e-commerce business, and they deal in the fragrances of the East. Basically, they bring the fragrances of the East to consumers in the West. So without further ado, Abdul, it's a pleasure for you to be here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Brett, for introducing. And I think this is, again, a pleasure for us also to introduce ourselves. And, it's a privilege for us to be with you right now.
Fantastic. So, Abdul, before we get more into y'all's business, can you tell everyone what is oud? What is so special about it?
Definitely. As you know, right, the company itself is based on the name Oud itself, Intense Oud. Oud is a specific kind of a fragrance which comes from the tree. There is specific kind of a tree which are only basically grown in certain part of the world. So let's say name it India, Cambodia, Malaysia. These are some of the places where the trees are grown. And oud is a scent which is extracted from those trees. So that oud is a very powerful kind of a scent which basically has a, I would say, strong and empowering kind of a scent over there. So this is what makes specialized what we are as an Intense oud. The mechanism of using that oud in our fragrances makes us stand out.
Very cool. Yeah, and I the first time we talked and I learned about oud, it's quite fascinating. It's expensive too.
It's
You know,
definitely expensive. I think the more volume, I would say, and the more intense your oud gets, the more expensive it gets.
so it's from different regions of the world. Is there a particular is there a difference between ouds in different regions?
Definitely, a person who is very specialized into oud, they can easily figure out by smelling that, okay, where does the oud basically belongs from. So a country, a city in India which is called basically Assam, that's a city in India, that's it has a lot of oud over there, so it will be easily be identifiable compared to something which is having from Cambodia.
Very cool. So then please introduce Intense Oud to us. You guys are in the business of fragrance. Let us know, what is it all about?
Definitely. I think I will just kind of, a little bit start by introducing myself. My name is definitely, as you see on the screen, my name is Abdul Ahmed. I am originally from Pakistan, but I have lived all my life in Dubai. And then basically I moved to United States to pursue my education as well as to, pursue my entrepreneur journey over here. So we Intense Oud is part of our bigger company, AK Group of companies, and Intense Oud is one part of the company whereby I basically associate myself as a CEO over there. So what is Intense Oud? Interesting question over there. So back in 2015, 2016, we basically, our family business basically identified that there is a huge market gap out here. So people were very much into Western perfumes, Western fragrances, and whatnot, but they wanted something new. They wanted something more catchy. This is where the inception of Intense Oud began. So in the pursuit of that one, definitely we saw, people want something new from stuff. So that's where, okay, that's where the idea about, let's introduce the world of West to the world of East in the world of, perfume and fragrances. So that's how Intense Oud was basically started back then, back in 2015 and 16.
Very interesting. So the opportunity, you guys wanted to bring Eastern fragrances to the Western market. Can you talk more about the opportunity that you saw in the US market for oud and oud-based fragrances?
Definitely. So what we saw is earlier, right? So uh, everyone wanted to basically try something different, try something new over here, right? So uh, now if anybody want to test out those fragrances, they had to travel all the way to the Middle East. And of course, when you're talking about that over there, it's a 16 hours flight. You got to take that, test out over there, and then come back over here to try it out over there. So we were like, you know what, let's make the life easy for them. That's how we started basically working and partnering up with a lot of big brands out there, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain. We are partners, we are exclusive partners with them. And that's how the journey started back then. And we started basically getting exclusive perfumes and fragrances to United States over here. And currently over here right now, I would say we have at least 85 brands which we have in-house over here till to date. And we have almost close to 3,000 different kind of varieties of fragrances.
Wow, very impressive. So how do you decide which brands to work with, which ones you think are interesting and could be like really big in the US market?
Definitely. So I think we have our own internal, I would say, R&D team. Basically, kind of does more kind of research and development stuff over there. Because what we have seen is that the audience over here, United States, they are very sensitive. I would say they're very picky, because of course, I mean, USA has a lot of options over here. So taking that into consideration, we go through a very kind of a rigorous process whereby to in order to vet the brands or who we want to basically partner up with. So if a brand is basically very much focused into oud, very much focused into, I think, enhancing their different collections, different varieties and whatnot, that's where we basically start engaging with them. That's where we start basically talking out with them and see, okay, what, discuss more, more business opportunities, or like how we can basically provide that specific collection to our audience in United States. So it's a process which keeps on going that consistently, and that's the reason why I happen to travel to Dubai every 3 months. I go there. We have I mean, we my dad definitely kind of runs the show in Dubai over there. That's where our headquarters is, and then we work hand to hand with vendors. And as a matter of fact, a lot of vendors fly all the way from Dubai to visit here just to see what we are doing, whatnot. So it's a more kind of a mutual relationship which we have with both of them.
These brands, so I'd imagine that most of their product, the packaging, is in another language. So how do you basically get it prepared, ready for the English market?
So here's the cool part. So since, because majority of the people, majority of the brands who we work with, right? So they have to speak Arabic, and also because since Dubai is more kind of a globalized country over there, so it's English is also a very common language over there in Dubai and the Middle East over there. So we have had not any issues so far, with language issues over here, because English and Arabic is in all their packaging. So that's not been an issue, and I think that has played a very important role for us in the process over here.
All right, that's great. Well, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing.
I
You
would, I'm sorry, Brad. I would just like to add one more point over here is that I forgot to mention that we have our own brand and our own manufacturing in Dubai also. So
mm,
as you basically kind of mentioned about, okay, how do you tailor specific the wordings and stuff like that. So our R&D team also decides about specific brands, specific scents and whatnot, because of the data what we have collected for n number of years. We use that data to make sure that when we introduce our own fragrances, our own scents, it is very much tailored and sync along the audience what they basically like here.
that's fantastic. So these are all great insights into sharing how to bring foreign brands into the U.S. market and
Mhm.
do it successfully. So you are both a B2C and a B2B business. So B2C side, you have your own website. Um, I think we previously discussed that you guys are exploring opening a retail side as well. But on the B2B side, what challenges do wholesale customers face to get these Eastern perfumes, colognes, and fragrances to the market?
I think there are few biggest challenge into the B2B side over here. The one of the biggest challenge over here is that the availability of the stock. The stock, you need to have your stock in house available at any given point of time. That's one of the biggest challenge over there. The second thing is that, okay, that you the product needs to be at a much more, I would say, economical priced. Your pricing needs to be very much online, so that, of course, if they are selling to the retailers or if they are selling to other wholesalers, so there is enough amount of room of margin whereby they can make that. The third challenge over here, what we have over there, is that the logistic element over there. If somebody wants to basically import as well as export out there, so these are the three, that's the challenge over there. So these are three elements, what every wholesaler or even I would say a retailer will face when they basically want to procure the goods.
Uh, what about sampling? So it's fragrances. You got to smell it. You got to touch it to see if you like it. So how do you sell something that has to be smelt, touched, and felt?
It's a very interesting question, and I think, to be very honest, I will say that, uh, there will never be a substitute to do something online, especially in the smelling. So you have to visit the store, you have to do that. But again, thanks to the technology, thanks to the the logistic part over there, so things are made a little bit easier. So we have samples for everything. So we have testers, we have small vials, for all the fragrances whatever we carry in house. So if a B2B is kind of interested, what they are not, how will they basically buy a case or even a pallet from us or even like a full container from us? How would they do that? Of course, they will need to basically smell it prior to they can buy something. So this is where we ship out, basically we call, I would say a bundle pack. We ship out a bundle pack to them, whereby they can get themselves introduced to all the samples, all the fragrances in whichever brands they want, and based on that, they can make the decisions appropriately.
Mm. All right, understood. So another thing that we mentioned when we previously talked was like logistics. So shipping perfumes globally in bulk, it's challenging, right? There are barriers. So can you talk about like how stocking or having a large selection of SKUs warehoused in the USA is a strong advantage for you, especially for your wholesale customers in the US, because there's a logistical challenge if you try to import yourself?
Definitely. I think so. As I mentioned prior, right? So there were three big elements. Every wholesaler faces. It's the stock availability. The first one. The second one is basically the price, and the third one is the logistic part over there, right? So now all of the three encompasses in a very one structure. So for that one, we have the state of the art warehouse in the Chicago vicinity. So we have a warehouse which is almost like 20,000 square feet, a huge warehouse we have here, and in that we basically stock pretty much every fragrance is whatever we have over here. So the cool part over here is that the warehouse what we have is in Chicago vicinity itself. So we are kind of into Midwest over here. So if an order comes from the East Coast, New York, Philadelphia, or from New Jersey, or even if it comes from the West Coast, which is basically California or from that side, it's very easy for us to basically ship it out to them at any given point of time. I would say the maximum number of days when we ship out pallets, or we ship out even like loose box, or we ship out like the containers to them, the full truckload, it takes up to like maximum up to like 4 to 5 days before they kind of before they receive the goods over there. So that's something where we are currently right now. It's very it has kind of really helped us out over there. Second aspect over there, which includes that perfumes basically falls into dangerous good, is hazmat. So that so we have a very strong relationship and partnership with the logistic team, whereby they handle this dangerous good in a very very nicely manner. So they make sure that all the compliance element are met properly before the user kind of receives it over there. So these are the two elements, I would say, which falls into the logistic part. Third element over here inside the logic is the custom issues. So anything United States is perfectly fine, but if you go outside United States, then we also have to deal with the customs, and that's also where we are very good into how to handling that situation too.
All right. So you guys joined Alibaba.com less than a year ago. So how did you hear about Alibaba.com? Why did you guys decide to become a seller on the platform?
Well, I would say honestly, Alibaba does not need an introduction. So Alibaba is tremendous. When it comes to the whole world, basically buys from Alibaba. So of course, we have been hearing them, and we bumped into, where did I personally was even introduced back again was at one of the conference what was hosted in Chicago. Alibaba was there, so that's where I had the initial conversation. I think at least 2.5 years ago. That's where the initial conversation basically started. That's where we started kind of looking into more options and whatnot, with Alibaba. That's how we were introduced.
Oh, the conference, that was the conference with Jack Ma, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. So as Alibaba.com, it's a global platform. There's sellers from all around the world. So what advantage do you think you as a US seller brings to the platform?
I think the biggest advantage, the journey what we have had so far with Alibaba till now, the biggest advantage what we have got over here is that we do not need to basically prove ourselves. Even though we are a well-known company, but if a leads are basically approaching to us from all around the world, they basically know Alibaba first. So based on that, it just really helps us out. The conversation what we basically have with them, it becomes very much streamlined, very much, I would say, we have a quality discussion with them. So that's one of the important factor over there. The second part, since because we are physically located in Chicago in USA itself, that plays a very big phenomenal important role. Your people bank and have a strong trust on USA itself. So all the conversations are very, very, I would say, very, very quality conversation we have with our leads.
All right.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the future. The future of Intense OUD, what does it hold?
Future of Intense OUD. Very good. So we have a vision which is called Vision 1010. So what it means is that in the next 10 years, which basically we want to basically introduce 1,000 brands with 10,000 SKUs or 10,000 different fragrances. So that's our the Vision 1010 is out there. So and following on track on that, as you already earlier mentioned, we have a very strong hold onto the B2C side over there. Our website is very well known, it's very famous out there. We have presence in strong marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Walmart. Besides that, we have a small experience center here, whereby if somebody's in Midwest, if they would like to basically stop by, they can they're more than welcome to kind of smell the fragrances, whatnot. But now, where do we go next from here? Well, we are in the process of basically having a global expansion. And I think Alibaba will definitely play the role over there on the B2B side of expanding ourselves globally out there. And secondly, we would also like to have our footprint, physically, like brick and mortars and whatnot, over there all around the world. So of course, that's a 10 by 10 vision. Hopefully, one day we'll get over there. But the point that, of course, we need strong partners, strong team players, like Alibaba and other people out there who can basically assist us and take us to the take us in the journey further.
Well, it's fantastic. Well, Abdul, we wish you the best of luck in both your physical and digital expansion globally. It's very
Thank you, Brad.
exciting. I think there's a big opportunity for foreign brands not only entering the US market, but foreign brands entering markets around the world. I think people have an appetite for new and exciting products and new and
Definitely.
exciting fragrances. So we're looking forward to y'all's continued growth and your expansion on the platform.
Definitely. I think, Brad. I think it's the 5 year, 6 years journey what we have had. It's amazing. It's we have grown phenomenal, and I think I see my journey, kind of our journey going more further, and will be definitely look forward for us. We are everywhere now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it again, everyone. We just finished our conversation with Abdul Ahmed. He is the CEO of Intense OUD. They are a B2B and B2C seller of fragrances from the East. So definitely check them out. You can find them on Alibaba.com. And we have come to the end of today's Entrepreneur Talk. So want to thank everyone for joining us. If you're interested in learning more about Alibaba.com, you can check us out at us.alibaba.com. You can check the description below the video for more information as well. So until next time, everyone, happy selling and go global.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching the Alibaba.com Entrepreneur Talk. We got a bunch more seller interviews lined up, so be sure to subscribe if you want to get a notification for the next one. Also, check out our YouTube channel. You can find our Seller Success Stories series there, where we highlight US and Canadian sellers on the platform. If you're interested in selling on Alibaba.com, you can check out a link in the description below or go to us.alibaba.com for more information. See you next time.